Hi everybody, welcome to J&S Farms, and in just a minute you will be seeing the chicken butchering video that I have put together. We did get all the chickens butchered this last weekend. Everything went really smoothly and we got everybody taken care of, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of a warning. If you are squeamish or if you have young kids that shouldn't watch butchering, then you may not want to let them watch this video. I show everything but the actual taking of the chicken's life, so I just wanted to give you kind of a warning, and I hope it is helpful for you guys. I really tried to show everything that goes on when you do butcher chickens, so and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and enjoy the video, and I hope it was helpful for you guys. Did you get them all? Yep. All right. Okay, so the night before, I don't feed them or water them. That way, when you do butcher them, their craws are empty and you get less mess and on the table whenever you do go to butcher them. So the night before and the morning of, don't feed or water them. That's what I do. So okay, so when we go to butcher them, we put them in these kill cones here. This is just an old what is it? Traffic cone that we cut the top off of. And what he does is he'll pull the head down, and then you want to hold the head real quick, babe. And then, well, here, let me, so we can see. Right here behind their jaw, they have their jugular veins on each side, and he'll just nick those, and the bird will bleed out and just go to sleep. So we'll be right back with you after the chicken is butchered. Okay, so the bird is actually dead now, but this is just a reaction that they have after they're gone. They will flail around. It's just nerves and things like that. So, but anyway, this method works really good, getting them all good and bled out, and that way your meat has a good flavor to it. So they'll do this for a little while, and then they'll just stiffen out, and then you can scald. So there you go. Okay, so here's where we're going to scald them, and we put up tarps to kind of keep the wind down, and you want your water between 150 and 160 or something?
140 to 150.
140 to 150, excuse me. Anyway. And that's how you check if they're good and scalded, if their feathers on their wings turn loose. Now we've learned that using the plucker, you want to just under where you want to hand pluck them, you want them to come out real easy. But if you're using the chicken plucker like we are, you want to get it to where they just have a little bit of resistance still on the wing feathers, kind of like that. Okay, now we're going to go over here and run our plucker. Okay, so here's some of the chickens that our new plucker has done, and I think it has done a really nice job. We've had to make a few tweaks to it, but for the most part it's been really easy to use. And we've learned a few things today with using it. We've never used one of these pluckers before, so we're really pleased at how it has done. So, alright, now I'm going to show you how to get the chicken ready to put in a bag and put in the freezer. I'll be right back with you. Alright, so I am going to be getting these birds ready for the bags and to be put in the freezer, and I'm going to show you how I cut them up. So now there's a million different ways to cut up a chicken. This is just how I do it. So anyway, here we go. First thing I do is I want to take the craw out, and what I do is I just lift up the skin and make a slit. And just take my hands. Okay, I'm going to try and make this where you guys can see it. Let's see, I just made the slit there. And then I'm going to, this is a little backwards for me, so you have to excuse me. Just kind of tear the skin a little bit, and there's the craw right there. So, okay, I'm going to have to turn this the way. I just grab a hold to the craw and pull away the skin. And yes, they will make a few noises at you, but that's okay. And this is the reason I like to withhold the food, is because if the craw has food and water in it, then it really gets messy. So you want to pull the craw out a little ways. And then you'll also want to grab a hold of the trachea, which will be right here. It's right here. Right there. Okay. And you'll get that. And just cut that off. And this just makes it easier to pull the rest of the intestines out later. So that's, you don't have to cut the craw out, but it just makes it a little bit easier to cut the intestines out. So you pull the trachea off. Okay. Hopefully you guys got to see that. I didn't realize. Okay. Now, you can either leave the neck on or take it off. I take it off, and the dogs usually eat this. I don't really use it, so we use it as dog food. And sometimes they can be a little bit tricky to do. It just depends on the chicken. So let's see if we can get this done nicely. Okay, and then to the other side. Sometimes it's a little hard, and you always watch where your fingers are whenever you're doing this. This one's going to be a little booger. Okay, there we go. And as you can see, it can go through really easily, or you can fight with it a little bit. So always watch where your fingers are. And that is going to go in the dog food pile. Alright, now that we got that done, I'm going to flip the bird over here. And we're going to start taking the intestines out. And this little guy had a little bit of a sore here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little bit higher than I normally would. But normally I'm going to make that slit right there. To get the intestines out. But what I do is I just pull it up and make kind of a little tent. Normally I'd cut it right here, but since there's a sore there and all this, the vent and the tail are going to be cut out. So I just pull it up and slide my knife through and make a little hole. Okay, and then I just use 2 fingers on the bottom and 2 fingers on the top, and I just pull. Okay, now sometimes they will poo on you a little bit, but if you have, this one didn't, but if you have you need to have a garden hose handy so you can, spray that off real quick. Okay, here's the gizzard, and I just take 2 fingers and go in and get underneath it, and you just pull your fingers up and use your fingers as a rake. And then I just take my other 2 fingers and set it along the keel bone here and give it a gentle pull, and you should have that come out. You'll have 2 organs attached to it there. And the first one I'm going to cut off is this one here. Cut that one off. And then the gizzard is free. And then you'll just cut this piece off. And I'll show you how I cut up the gizzards here in a minute. But anyway, that's how you get the gizzard out. And okay, so now we are going to go after the liver, and I'm going to see if I can show it to you guys while it's still in the bird so you can kind of know what I'm talking about here. Okay, let's see if I can get it up here. I don't think you can see it, but it's right there. It's kind of the darker intestine in there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but
Okay, so what I do is I just take 3 fingers and I'll come up over the top of it, and I will use my fingers as kind of like a rake and pull it on out. And there you have the liver, and then you just kind of give it a gentle pull to break it free from the intestines. Just gentle pull. Oh, well, the bird's sliding away. But okay, if you're going to save the livers, you need to get this out. This is called the gallbladder. And if this breaks, you do not want to save your meat. It gets a really, really nasty flavor into the meat. So what I do is I just pinch it with 3 fingers, and I will pull gently. And there you have the gall and the beautiful chicken liver. And I have a bowl of ice water over here. I'm putting all of the organs that we save in. Okay, so that one piece of intestine leaked a little bit, so we're going to spray that off. It's always handy to have your water handy and ready to use. Okay, so now we're going to go after the heart. And again, I just use 3 fingers. Go in to this, for the heart, you want to kind of go into the side and then pull on it. Okay, and there's the heart. That is a blood clot that's kind of formed there at the heart, so you just throw that off. But there's the heart right there. He had a nice little heart. Okay, now the next thing I do, this is a big glob of fat. You want to save that. That's lots of good flavor. So, okay, so now we're going to get the rest of the intestines, and again, I just use my 3 fingers and kind of in a scooping motion, just kind of, I hope you got to see that, scooping motion, just scoop the intestines out and pull until you feel a little bit of resistance. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to cut the tail off and the rest of the intestines. So on this is the hip bone here, and I just cut along the side of it till it goes kind of down. There's the tail, down to the side of the tail. At this point, what I'm going to do is, you can see where the intestines are still attached to the bird right here. So I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to kind of push those aside, and then I will grab the tail with my remaining 4 fingers, and I'm going to flip the bird up on its where it's sitting, resting on its breast. And then I'm going to take my knife and cut along that. Sometimes the fat gets in your way, but I'm going to cut along that other bone there. Okay, and then you just cut sideways. Always watch where your fingers are, and that tail just comes right off. Okay, so the guts are going to go in the gut bucket, and then we're going to give this guy a rinse real quick. And we're not quite done getting all the intestines out yet. Organs, yes, thank you. Yeah, all that we have left are the organs. Okay, these tables are really slippery, so my bird tried to run away. All right, the only thing we have left in here to get are the lungs. So now the lungs on a chicken are up kind of in their skeletal structure. So you're going to have to, when you go in, you're going to take your fingers and you're going to scrape down the side of the wall and lift up, and that should give you a lung. It's a little bit of practice to try and get the lungs out. See that one? There's your lung. And I did rip that one in half, but that's okay. They don't need them anymore. So, all right, now the other one, if you're right-handed, is a little bit trickier to get out. But you just do the same thing, only backwards. Let's see, I pulled that one in half, but it's okay. I'll get the other half, I think. It's in here still. All right. All right. Okay, so there is all the organs and intestines removed. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the feet off. And when I do that, I kind of bend them backwards a little bit so that they're like this, and you can see the joint area, and you put your knife right in there and they come right off. And this chicken keeps trying to slide. Okay, always have your fingers back. Camera shy. All right, So now you have this nice flap of meat, and this is how I like to do my birds. You can leave them just like this if you like it, but I like to make mine to where they tuck in just a little bit. So right here at the keel bone, just right in front, I'm going to cut a little slit. Can you see that? A little slit. And then I take my leg and I tuck it under. And I take the other leg and I tuck it under. And there you have it. A nice bird ready to go into the freezer. Alright, I'll be back with you here in just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do this one just like I normally would. And you guys can just see after you've done it a few times, it kind of becomes routine. So anyway, I'm just going to do this one how I normally do it. And anyway. Oh, hang on. My hose is run away from me. Okay. Just about squirted the camera. Not a good thing to do. Okay, so that took me about 3 minutes. And you have a bird ready to go. Okay, so once we've got them all butchered up, we just stick them in ice water and let them chill for a few hours, and then we will bag them and put them in the freezer. Alright guys, so here we are, and we've got them bagged. This is what they look like after they're bagged. We vacuum seal them, and they do really nicely. So this will last quite a while in the freezer. So there you have it. And I will be doing a video on kind of the cost breakdown and everything. So and how long it took us to do it and different things like that. So there you go. That's what they look like when they're all done. I think it turns out pretty nice. So anyway, hope this video was helpful for you guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And you guys have a good day. Take care. Bye.